Welcome to Giant Ability TV.
The reality that stares Nigerians in the face is unbelievable. It is like watching a movie that presents information about happenings in other countries of the world, especially the smaller African nations within the continent. The saying is true that one can run away from others as well as from one geographical location to another, but the truth remains that as it is impossible for one to run away from his own shadow, the same is true that one cannot run away from himself. A wise man admonishes that kings have long arms but misfortune longer. Therefore none should think of themselves out of reach. The effervescent years of Nigeria that was popularly known as the Giant of Africa have dissipated, leaving nothing behind other than what fits in for description as the insignificant nullity. Understandably, President Muhammadu Buhari was first and foremost a man before becoming a general. There is no disputing the fact that to err is human but to forgive is divine. However, the pertinent question is, can one remain in sin and expect grace to multiply?
Finally, I can't even wait to go home. If you said tax, I'll move to Nigeria Republic. Whoever thought that there had been some form of injustice on him, we are all human. There is no doubt I hurt some people, and I wish they would pardon me. And those that think that I've hurt them so much, please pardon me.
The atrocious acts of the Buhari-led administration against Nigeria are unprecedented. Here is a general under whose watch Nigeria suffered the highest numbers of fatalities, from the Boko Haram terrorists, carnage from the Fulani herdsmen against innocent farmers, banditry, kidnapping, and the unknown gunmen. Here is a president and commander-in-chief of Nigeria Armed Forces who doubles as the Minister of Petroleum Resources, under whose watch, for 8 years running, Nigeria experienced the unimaginable theft of the country's crude oil in quantity that can only be made possible with his consent. This is a president who promised to fix the ailing economy of the country on assumption of office in 2015, but who is leaving the country after 8 years in office with 133 million poor Nigerians, according to the Multidimensional Poverty Index report. Here is a president who promised to fight corruption to its knees, but who is leaving Nigeria more indebted than any of his predecessors since the return of the country to democracy in 1999. Here is a president under whose watch the court pronouncement, even those from the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land, have been disregarded and disdained in record numbers. Here is a president who promised Nigerians before the whole world, especially at the 77th United Nations General Assembly in New York, of leaving behind a legacy of a free, fair, transparent, and credible electoral process, but who reneged on his promise by bequeathing to Nigerians the worst and the most fraudulent elections in 2023.
We have invested heavily to strengthen our framework for free and fair elections. I thank you. I thank our partners for all the support that they have provided our elections. As President, I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would like to leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, and transparent, credible election through which Nigerians elect their choice.
With all that has been said and presented above, the only prayer of President Muhammadu Buhari to Nigerians is that of pardon and forgiveness for whatever wrongs he might have done. The right place to begin is to make him understand that only those who are merciful are deserving of mercies from both man and God. He should be made to recall what happened under his watch as the military head of state when 3 Nigerian men convicted of illegal possession of cocaine and heroin were lashed to stakes and publicly executed by firing squad outside Kirikiri prison. They were the first Nigerians executed under Decree 20 of the military regime that launched a crackdown on crime and corruption. The decree makes drug handling and illegal oil trafficking punishable by death. The victims were Bartholomew Azubike Owo, 26, a former employee of Nigerian Airways, Lawal Okani Ojuolakpe, 30, a spare parts dealer, and Bernard Ogedengbe, a 29-year-old sailor. The killings of Nigerians mercilessly are not what just began with the present APC-led government under the watch of Muhammadu Buhari since 2015 till date. Buhari had been a bloodthirsty and unforgiving leader since he was the military head of state. True and final judgment rests with the Almighty God, and He pays everyone according to his deeds. What is important at this moment is for President Buhari to search his conscience, if it is still living and not dead, and choose to correct what is within his power by returning to Nigerians their stolen mandate. You cannot be begging for forgiveness when you are also trying to perpetrate the same platform of illegality and criminality used in committing the sins for which you are begging for forgiveness. One does not need to read the entire Quran or be a practicing Muslim to know that Islam as a religion is against injustice. A wise man admonishes that every man who is truly a man must learn to be alone in the midst of all others, and if need be, against all others. Never exchange a good conscience for the goodwill of others or to avoid their ill will. Charles Summers. The 8 years tenure of the APC-led government under the watch of Muhammadu Buhari can be described as the saddest episode in the history of Nigeria, while his personality can be summed up as that of being as great as a man can be without virtue and as wise as a man can be without modesty. The reason is because blood is inherited, but virtue is achieved. Nonetheless, President Buhari has the last chance and opportunity in life to right some of the wrongs done against Nigerians just by making sure that only the true winner of the 2023 presidential election takes over from him. If you compromise with your own conscience, you will weaken your conscience. Soon your conscience will fail to guide you, and you will never have real wealth based on peace of mind. Napoleon Hill. Furthermore, let all Nigerians be informed that war looms and the plans of the enemies is to set the Yorubas against the Igbos. My advice is that lessons should be learned from the Civil War of 1967 to 1970, which claimed the precious lives of millions of innocent Nigerians. The script has been written, but the Igbos and the Yorubas should play smart and not fall victims of the evil machination of the writers of the script, who are the Fulanis. The experience of what played out in Lagos should serve as a lesson. The drums of war are being beaten down now, but wisdom demands that the Igbos and the Yorubas should not dance to the devilish tunes. If for nothing, the Igbos and the Yorubas should bear in mind that they are partners in progress and have so much in common. The two ethnic groups have suffered serious marginalization in the hands of the Hausas and Fulanis, and therefore should not be distracted. The 2023 presidential election has been designed to create disaffection between the two ethnic groups, and this must not be allowed to happen. The judiciary has an important role to play, not to set the country ablaze. The polity is already heated, and the gun of destruction has been loaded, and waiting for who will pull the trigger. Let the Nigerian judiciary stand out and save the country from extinction. The wars between Russia and Ukraine and the most recent in Sudan are instructive enough to guide the action of those in positions of authority in Nigeria to do only what is right without fear or favor. Nigeria is too precious to Nigerians and must not be allowed to be destroyed by those whose conscience is dead. May 29, 2023 is a day of appointment with destiny. The history of the country must be rewritten, this time in ink and printed in gold, and not with blood and at the expense of the colorful destiny of Nigerians. On a final note, the Independent Electoral Commission of Nigeria, INEC, and its leader, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, should deem it fit and as a matter of moral obligation and responsibility to revisit the results of the 2023 presidential elections and carry out a thorough scrutiny for the purpose of verification. The reports being circulated on the social media in respect of errors or the disparity between the results announced in favor of the presidential candidate of APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in Rivers State, Lagos, Plateau, Taraba, and Benue, which were won by the Labour Party in Rivers, Benue, Taraba, and with a higher margin in Lagos and Plateau, should be re-awarded accordingly. We all make mistakes, but the only problem with making mistakes is to keep making them and not be ready to make corrections where necessary. Nigeria is bigger than every one of us, and because we are mortal, we are bound to die someday, but history does not die. Kiss the hand of him who can renounce what he has publicly taught when convicted of his error, and who with heartfelt joy embraces the truth, though with the sacrifice of favored opinions. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you for watching.